Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of the Diz Explorers podcast, where each week our troop explores different areas of Walt Disney Parks, cruise line, movies, culture, and more. Joining us this week on our adventure, we have Adrian.
Hey!
And Crystal.
Hey, you all.
And Jessica.
Hello!
And I am RJ. Trooper Milford is actually on vacation above the Disney Dream as we're speaking now, and Trooper Mel is busy tending to her flock during her last week of school. So before we begin, I'd like to start by congratulating Mel on her new position as the editor of the DCLPrepSchool.com. So we're definitely looking forward to following that along and seeing how well she's going to do at that and how helpful she'll be to anybody looking to find any information on doing any sort of Disney cruise activities. Just one more thing before we get going. Just for those who have listened for these first 5 episodes, we greatly thank you and appreciate it. And for those who listen on iTunes, can you please give us a review, preferably a 5-star review? It helps us know how we're doing, and it helps us get found easier because it'll move us up the charts when you search for Disney-related podcasts. So with that, we're going to begin tonight's episode speaking about wedding proposal sites in and around Disney World and Disneyland, and even the cruise, if that would apply. So, some ones I did not get married in Disney World, but I did honeymoon on the Disney Magic and also in the parks for 4 days before that. Wedding proposal sites, I was trying to think of ones that aren't the obvious in front of Cinderella Castle, because that's obviously most people's dream and their picture book type setting for that very special occasion. I had some other ideas just off the beaten path kind of, because that's where my mind first goes with stuff like this. And I was thinking like in Epcot Center in Canada, they have those wonderful waterfalls and that whole area back there where the Victoria Garden is, heading down to Les Celliers and over towards the O Canada movie. And I just thought that's a really cool background, standing in front of the waterfalls and with the mist and everything, and that could be a romantic setting as well. And also I know the gardens over in the UK where I believe Alice and Mary Poppins meet with guests. That's a really nice place too, really just a nice kind of quiet area. I mean, it's not hidden, but it's not a high traffic area, so that could be a great area to make a proposal on either way. And another favorite spot, which is where I used to enjoy watching Illuminations a lot, would be in Italy, in that little step-down area that brings it kind of down towards the World Showcase Lagoon. That's a nice, I mean, it's a big open area, so you definitely would have plenty of people standing by watching and hopefully cheering you on. But that's a cool spot, too. Another spot I thought of in the Magic Kingdom, besides the castle, would be on top of the train station, because then you got great views of all of Main Street if you have anybody up there to take pictures. And I think that would be pretty awesome to have a wedding proposal on top of the train station. That seems like a pretty cool area. So that was kind of all I thought of. Adrian, how about you?
Well, you were talking about the gardens in the UK, and I was thinking about the gardens over in France, in the France Pavilion, too, are beautiful over in that kind of corner there. But I actually did get engaged in Disney World, and so anytime my husband complains about my obsession, I blame him. And but it's all his fault. It started with him. So, but we actually got engaged near the Crystal Palace.
Oh, nice.
In the Magic Kingdom. And it was very quiet because neither of us are extroverted that way. Very sweet, very quiet over there next to the Crystal Palace. So that's a little bit of a special place in my heart.
Cool. Crystal, how about you?
So a few of the spots that I had, the California Grill is really gorgeous at night. They'll dim the lights and play the fireworks music throughout the restaurant, but they also have like a platform where you can go outside, and it's dark and just a really romantic, beautiful spot. I think if you were looking to get engaged in front of the fireworks. Also, if you have a huge bank account, they have the yachts that you can rent at the Grand Floridian and go out onto Seven Seas Lagoon, and you have like a private boat captain, And I think if you're making money, this is like a great way to do it. Where you have like your multi-carat diamond ring too. So I think those two things go together.
Holy moly.
And then I actually saw recently where this adorable couple posted their video online, and I retweeted it. You can check out my Twitter account for it. But they got engaged. They were doing a meet and greet with Mickey on Main Street, and then he just popped the question right there with Mickey, and it was like the cutest thing you've ever seen. Like Mickey was part of the act, and like giving them hugs, and then taking pictures at the end, and it was just like I was like laughing and almost like my heart was about to burst at the same time out of like sheer joy for this couple. It was really adorable. And Mickey like posed with her hand out to show the ring, and then made a heart with their arms and like popped in the middle of it. So it was pretty cute to get Mickey in on the action.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I thought those were kind of some cool ways in order to kind of to have a proposal. But we had our honeymoon at Disney, so we did the bride and groom Mickey ears, and kind of spent the week down. Yeah, so we spent our honeymoon actually at the parks.
Cool. And Jessica, I know you're not a married girl, but what over in Disneyland, is there any spots that you would think would be great places to have that happen?
Oh yes. Yeah, if I don't get proposed to in the parks, I might have to say no. So one place that I thought would be cool in Disney World or in Disneyland would be on Tom Sawyer Island, just because it looks over so much of the park and it's kind of quiet, and it would make for a great backdrop if you had somebody taking a picture or something. I've never been on the island in Disney World, but in Disneyland there's kind of like a platform at the front where they do Fantasmic, and that's a really cool place to stand, and I think that would just be an awesome spot. Another place that I picked in the Magic Kingdom, which is probably cliche by now, but the Be Our Guest restaurant, I just love that place, so I think that would be an awesome, like in the ballroom or in front of the stained glass mural or something, that would be super cool. And then I was going to say the train station, but you stole my idea, so I guess I'll say Cars Land has a really nice backdrop, which I'm sure I've talked about before, where you can see the whole mountain range, and there's kind of a walkway that goes down, and there's usually a photographer there, but it's still pretty quiet, so I think that would just be an awesome place to get some pictures or to be proposed to as well.
Nice, yeah, that all sounds like great places. Now, since Crystal, you guys, I think we all kind of spent our honeymoon down there, so just briefly wanted to if there was any of your favorite experiences that happened down there, since we're kind of on the wedding topic, in relation to walking around with those Mickey ears and the Mickey veil, because I know we did too, and you get the pins that say just married or just engaged in Adrian's case. So Crystal, anything really cool and special out of the ordinary happened to you guys while you were down there on your honeymoon?
Yeah, we just we went to the Cinderella Royal Table, and one of the cool things that they did that was unique for us, they actually brought us champagne in beautiful champagne flutes that said Cinderella's Royal Table on them, and then they had confetti on the table. And when we went to leave, they didn't charge us for the champagne, and they gave us the flutes to take home. So every anniversary now, we end up we pull out the champagne flutes and we use those to kind of toast our anniversary. So it's something really cool that they did for us, that completely free, that they did not have to do. So pretty amazing.
That's fantastic.
I love that.
How about you, Adrian?
Well, I have to confess, because my obsession kind of started when we got engaged there, I didn't know about the buttons. I didn't know about any kind of the special things. So we didn't kind of get any special treatment. But we're going back for our 10-year anniversary in July, and I am wearing a button in every place you can put a button to make sure to make up for that.
Definitely. You have to get your celebrating 10 ears button put on it. Yes. I don't remember. We were married in 2002, so I don't remember if they had the buttons then either. But I know my wife wore her ears with the veil every day, and I wore the top hat as much as I could without it blowing off my head all the time. I mean, I don't remember anything super out of the ordinary. I think the fanciest we did, we had a dinner over at Narcoossee's in the Grand Floridian on the water, and I know that was a big splurge for that. And I remember just getting some different experiences, like with the old backlot tour that they used to do at the studios, when they used to take you into that special effects tank and they would recreate the scene of the plane coming and dunking the water and all that stuff, and they get the volunteers, one person to be in the little boat and then the other person to throw the lever that dunks all the water on the other person. We got chose to do that, so that was a lot of fun. The shame part is nobody else is with you, so there's no video footage of it because they don't videotape it for you or any of that stuff. And this was before camera phones, so that was pretty cool. And on the cruise, because we did the cruise second, it was the same thing. Since the boat is, I mean, they're not small, but it's not like walking around Disney World. You do get to see the same people often. So you get known as the honeymooners. I think the cruise we were on, there was 3 other couples that had gotten married at the same time. So you did get called the newlyweds all the time and the honeymooners, and get some recognition in that way. And we got champagne flutes as, I don't remember getting an extra package. It was the same thing like what Crystal had gotten. We had gotten like champagne flutes that say Disney Cruise Line on them as part of going in there, and we got like a nice like little tote bag that said Fairy Tale Weddings and stuff like that. And this was nothing that we had done extra like as a package or anything, so it was kind of cool to get that extra swag from Disney when you can.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's good. I think that's a lot of good advice and some good picture spots, and hopefully we can give some ideas to some of the fellas out there that are listening to to get some good ideas. All right, so moving on. Crystal was recently at Walt Disney World for a little weekend jaunt, so I believe she had some experiences she wanted to share with everyone. So, Crystal?
Yeah, this past weekend we live here locally, so we decided we were going to take a little mini family vacation and head over and stay at the Grand Floridian just for 2 nights. So it is Disney's flagship hotel, built in 1988. It has a Victorian charm along the monorail loop. I think that's probably one of the biggest perks of staying at Grand Floridian is that monorail loop, easy access to get into the Magic Kingdom. But overall, it's a deluxe resort, 867 rooms, and they just added 147 villas in 2013 for the DVC Club members. I think the biggest shocker with Grand Floridian is that sticker price, which is $450 to $860 a night. So you have to really want it to stay at this resort. We were luckily enough, we were able to get a group rate, so it was much cheaper and way more affordable. So that's kind of why we chose to go that route. But again, transportation along the monorail route to Magic Kingdom and Epcot. You can take a bus to the other parks, and then you can also take a boat over to Magic Kingdom, which is awesome with a toddler. Kind of like easy escape route. If we need a quick nap, we can kind of take off and get back to the resort really quickly. But the amazing thing is the guest service there. When you check into the room, there's experienced cast members. They take everything for you in a golf cart right up to your room, tell you about the resort, and kind of get that extra special time with the cast members and kind of get to know them as they take your luggage to the room. And they kind of walk you up to the room, which is great, a unique thing about a deluxe resort versus the other ones. In addition to that, just in the close proximity to Magic Kingdom, we were at just on property near Narcoossee's when the fireworks were going off, and we just stood there next to the Seven Seas Lagoon, and we got to see the electrical water pageant as well as the fireworks. So those are a few of the cool things about Grand Floridian versus the other deluxe resorts, as well as some of the theming. So each of the deluxe hotels were kind of built to mirror the lands within Magic Kingdom. So the Polynesian would be tied to Adventureland, contemporary with Tomorrowland, and then Grand Floridian is obviously Main Street. So you get kind of that Main Street flair when you check into the hotel. They have a grand piano playing during the day and the orchestra in the evening. So it is very uppity. Like when you check in, you feel like you need to be dressed nice. It doesn't like I was rolling in wearing like running shorts and like a tank, and I'm like, might want to put some makeup on. So it can be a bit intimidating to stay there. I'm definitely more of a Fort Wilderness kind of girl. So, The lobby is just beautiful. It's a 5-story lobby with these huge chandeliers. I highly recommend just coming over and sitting in the lobby, relaxing with a drink. And it's air conditioned, so if you're not staying there, a nap is always good in the lobby too. Buy you some time. But they do some cool things there. They have some special activities. They do a princess parade daily, so the girls that have gone to the Booby Bobby boutique can come in and do a lap around the lobby in their princess gowns. They also do some fun seasonal activities. So at Christmas time, they have a gingerbread house that they build in the resort, and you can actually buy gingerbread cookies out of the gingerbread house. It's pretty incredible.
Yep.
And then at Easter time, they do chocolate Easter eggs, and they have like a competition where the artists come in and they make Easter eggs all out of chocolate. It makes the entire lobby smell divine, like chocolate. So if you can check it out during the holidays, I recommend that also. And something cool that they do is if you go into the Disney merchandise shop there, you can kind of shop around, even at other properties, and bring back goodies, and they'll make an Easter basket for you. And the Easter Bunny can deliver it to your room if needed.
Fantastic.
So pretty cool stuff that they... Yeah, just like an additional amenity that they offer by getting your Easter basket done there. And then, as we talked about, the wedding pavilion is also available. So you constantly see like Cinderella's carriage with the white ponies. There's brides everywhere. We actually saw a bride this weekend. So everyone was like in suit and ties and cute little like ring bearers and flower girls everywhere. So I was kind of having this moment where I was looking at my husband and like, we've made the ultimate fail. Why did we get married in Asheville? We should have got married at the Grove, like in the Grand Floridian. This is terrible. We made a mistake. Like we were kind of joking. We're like, we need to break up and just get back together so we can get remarried. I'm like, we'll just fake it.
Vow renewals.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's some really cool shops there too. So if you decided you want to make your Easter basket or just kind of go on a shopping spree, they have some really great shops. They have the Commander Porter's men's shop, the Basin White shop, which is like Mickey soaps and different like bath bombs. And life is always better with Mickey soap when you can like sit in the tub with a glass of wine and have like a Mickey bath bomb. It's pretty amazing.
You're supposed to use those? I just kind of collect them. Keep them in the cabinet.
They're like guest towels. They're really for elixir. And then they have the Summer Lays where you can, like the women's shop, that's the main one, where you can buy Lily Pulitzer, Vera Bradley bags. And they also have the new Castle Couture line that Disney's put out. So it's like high-end clothing that's like great quality. So they sell that there too. And then they have their sundry shop and the typical Disney merchandise. And they also have a salon. So I think it's mainly for all the brides that are going in there and their bridal parties. But I've seen some of the girls getting their hair done in there as well to do the princess time. Other than that, they have pool. I mean, the pools are incredible. I really just, there's so many amazing things to say about it. The pools are awesome. One of the things that they do different than the other pools is they actually have a food and drink service. So somebody will come around and will ask you what you want. And I think every dream vacation is to have a Cabana Boy. So I was pretty excited. I'm like, oh, Cabana Boy, I'm going to need another drink. So they have two main pool areas. There's one that's like a zero entry pool that has some fountains. And actually our son liked that one a lot more. I think it's only maybe 4 feet deep. So that one does not have a lifeguard there. It's a little bit more low key. And then the other pool has the water slide as well as the toddler area that's themed after Alice in Wonderland. So that one has this big green Mad Hatter's hat that fills up with water and dumps out every couple minutes. As well as some water slides for young kids, and it's all gated in. So that area is awesome. We took our son over there, and he's still a little bit too young for it. But, I mean, there was 3 and 4-year-olds that were having the time of their lives. It was like the coolest thing they'd ever experienced. And then they have jacuzzis and stuff like that as well that you can go into, which, I mean, it was so hot. I don't know how anyone was hanging out in a jacuzzi. But kind of talking about the room, most of the rooms are about 400 square feet, and AAA has given them 4 Diamond Award winners. So the rooms are pretty nice compared to most hotel rooms. I mean, they have posh amenities. They'll come in and do turn-down service at night, and they'll leave like little chocolates on your pillow with a Grand Floridian tag on them. So that's pretty cool. And then you get towel service throughout the day and kind of twice a day service. Since they're coming in to do the turn-down service, and they get upgraded amenities too. So like you get the H2O shampoo and conditioner, you get some lotion that you don't typically get, at the value resorts. They give you lots of towels. I mean, it's kind of the same stuff, but they actually give you more of it. It's not as rationed out. And then they also have robes. So I felt like a pretty big baller, like hanging out in one of the Grand Floridian robes. That was a perk. You can sit in your robe and order room service too. They have room service if you want it. And then all of the rooms are interior rooms with balconies. So our balcony actually overlooked one of the pools, so we could kind of see the backside of the lobby. But it was really quiet. I've been at some of the other resorts that it's really loud. You can't sleep in past 6:30 even if you wanted to. This one was very quiet. You have glass sliding doors, and it keeps the sun out, and we were actually able to get some sleep. There's a double bed with a fold-out couch, so you could fit probably 6 people in there comfortably. And then they have a desk with like a computer desk if you needed to work, as well as a flat screen TV. So, a little bit nicer than some of the other rooms that we've been in. And the theming is Alice in Wonderland, so they had some silhouettes in there of Alice in Wonderland. And a few things that I've seen at this resort that they lack at some of the others is just small things. So, like, they give you a ceiling fan, which in Florida is a huge perk. But the AC actually works in this room too. I know I've been in other rooms that was like sweating it out all night, and it actually got cooler in here. They have a hamper for your dirty clothes, and the beds were really comfy and nice. And the pillows were nice. Some of the resorts that I stay at, I'm not kidding, I feel like the sheets are like razor blade sheets. Like, I have to take a blanket to muffle, to roll in order to get some sleep. So, I think that they give you nicer bed sheets and stuff like that here at this property as well. I think my biggest beef with the room is just you couldn't fully open the bathroom door. It would hit the toilet seat. And I was just like, I can't believe they didn't, give you an extra foot here to, you couldn't go in the bathroom. You had to, go in the bathroom, slide up against the wall, close the door, and then you could, walk around the front of the toilet. It was just kind of crazy that you're paying, you should be paying
strange, yeah.
$800 a night for a room, and you're like, I have to do a game of Tetris to be able to get into the restroom. So that was really my only complaint about the room. I was like, just 1 foot more, and this would be a lot better. And then I don't know if you guys have ever eaten at any of the full service restaurants there. So they have, Victoria and Albert's, which is their 5 diamond restaurant that you can't go into unless you with children under the age of 10. They have Citrico's, Narcoossee's, 1900 Park Fair, Grand Floridian Cafe, Garden View, Lounge, Misner's, Gasparilla's, Quick Service, and Beaches Poolside. So have you all eaten at any of these properties?
Yes. We've done the buffet at 1900 Park Fair, which by and large blows away Chef Mickey's.
Oh, thank goodness. We're going in September.
Oh, it's fantastic. And,
good.
And it's, if I remember, it's Alice, the Mad Hatter, Cinderella
Yeah,
I believe. I don't know. None of them matter except the Mad Hatter because he is just hysterical. He's fantastic.
Isn't that the one that has the Tremaine sisters too? Is that in the evening?
It's dinner, yeah. So we went there for dinner. Yeah, we went there for dinner, and they were hilarious. They were throwing gummy bears at each other and screaming across the restaurant, and then our son was making over the two sisters, and they just couldn't handle it because the whole storyline is that they never get any attention from Prince Charming. So that was adorable. And then Cinderella selected our son. They'll Prince Charming and Cinderella will dance, and then they split off and they pick somebody to dance with, and Cinderella picked our son. So he's 2, and I know, it was tears in the eyes, and they were dancing, but it was just funny because 30 seconds in, he was like, okay, my time's up, I gotta go. So he cut her off and was like, bye, and just walked away.
That's hysterical.
And then they, we obviously got him back over there, they danced a little longer, and at the end she bowed, and she taught him how to bow. So that was really cute. So he lowered his head and bowed. But I had one of my favorite character meals is 1900 Park Fair with Cinderella and the evil stepsisters and the mom. It is so much fun. It's hilarious. It's just that is one of the best meals. Great food and character interactions are awesome. So if you have a reservation there, that's a good spot.
I can't wait. That's been on my to-do list for a while, so I'm really excited about it.
And then the only other couple things I have on my list, just from a review standpoint, they have a spa there. So it really is a full-service resort. They have the Fences Spa. So just let me know if you guys need me to do a research trip. I will happily volunteer for this. So just let me know when you need it. And they also have a workout facility, basketball court. They have the New Balance running trails. And we had a really great time. It was pretty incredible. We really enjoyed our trip. And not to really, I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy about anything that we had occur on the property. Everything was really fun. It was just, it's pricey to stay there. And it's a really nice resort. We enjoyed all the amenities, but I really felt like you could possibly hit the property during a vacation and see everything without actually staying there. The rooms are not so unbelievable that you're missing out on anything. And the pools are great, but they're not like the Polynesian or the Beach Club. I guess from like a cost per resort, I think like going to the Beach Club and having access to their sand beach pool and some of the amenities there are almost better than what's going on at the Grand Floridian. So I think you can hit all the restaurants, drink in the lobby, hit the shops, go to the salon or the spa, and save your additional $600 a night. But it's an amazing experience, and I highly recommend it. If the bank account can handle it, I would recommend checking it out. I had an awesome time. I don't want to sound like my tiara is too tight by any means. But I think it just depends on how you choose to spend your money. So I guess that was my question I wanted to pose to you guys. Is it worth it to you guys to pay $800 a night for a room, or would you rather take that money and like go do experiences? So have like go to the Animal Kingdom and do the wild African track, or take a tour and do some of the cool things that are available with that additional money? Or do you guys like staying at like the deluxe resorts?
Well, I stayed at the Grand Floridian. We stayed there once, I believe, for one night when I was a kid. Down there with my parents. My father was at a conference, and after we were there for a week, after his conference was over, after like the 4 nights at whatever hotel they had us in there, he said, for the next 2 nights we'll spend the money and we'll stay at the Grand Floridian. So this was probably 25 years ago. So it was interesting to hear your take on it, because it sounds like everything was pretty much exactly the same from when I was there. The chocolates, the fancy robes. I remember trying to put one of those fancy robes in my suitcase, and my father was like, I don't think so. Because they're going to put that on a tab. And I know they've redone the pools, and I was going to ask you if you checked out the new pools with the Alice in Wonderland. Those splash areas are a ton of fun. When your son is old enough and can go in there, go with him, because having that water get dumped on here, my kids are the same way. They would just stand there. Not at that hotel, not all of them have it. I think I know Old Key West has one at theirs, and that's a ton of fun there. I think the Boardwalk Pool has one now, and those areas are just a lot of fun. And then it made me laugh about in the lobby, running in track shorts and a tank top. That's usually me. Now I've got tattoos up and down my arms and legs, and I walk in that place and I feel like it's when in Christmas Vacation when Cousin Eddie comes, and it's just like a record scratches and everybody's staring at me because with the do-rag on and bottle of beer in my hand, and just have no business being in this place. But whatever, to each his own. My money's good everywhere, just like everybody else's. But the holidays, that place is truly a whole different world. Like you said, the gingerbread house is something you just got to see in person. And if you're like to take pictures with not only an iPhone like I do, that thing is phenomenal. The details on it and all the characters they implement, like above all the windows, there's like little. It's just phenomenal how they build that thing, and taking pictures in front of the tree and all that other stuff is just really great.
I think, going back to your question about whether or not it's worth it, I think it depends on your goal for that vacation. Like if I'm wanting to have a more relaxed vacation where I'm going to spend more time at the pool or spend time in the room or that kind of thing, then I think it's definitely worth it. And like you were talking about the monorails, that's right there is worth, I think, the price increase for anything because of the ease of transportation, especially with little ones.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but if you're going, like, say you're like, we do 2-3 day trips a lot, and because it's such a longer trip for us, the room doesn't matter as much. So like we went and like we spur of the moment decided to go down there, and the only thing available was Coronado Springs, which is fine. It's a Monterey, but it's not, I didn't find it super special. But it was fun because we were going to be hitting the parks and hitting them hard, and we were just going to be sleeping in that room. So I think it just kind of depends on what your priorities are.
I agree. I think that's a great point. I mean, it is a full service resort, so you could go in and never see the parks at all and have a great time.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that way probably about most of the deluxe resorts. I guess I really didn't answer what you had asked too. But yeah, for me, it's not that much about the room. Like going as a kid, and even when my kids were very young, and I don't recommend it to anyone, but we used to hit the parks hard and do the all day thing, and not go back for naps and everything else. So it didn't really matter, and that was a mistake. Lesson learned on that one. But, yeah, the rooms just don't, as long as the bed is comfy and the shower works, doesn't much matter to me. So I'm kind of with Adrian. Like, if it's not a priority that your hotel be super fancy, I'd rather spend my money elsewhere, like on those tours that you had mentioned, Crystal, and other things, or dining experiences and, stuff like that. Merchandise.
Yeah, that's how my husband and I have always been. Same way.
For me, it's a little different in Disneyland because it's right up against a main street, so you have a lot of choices of cheaper hotels that aren't on the property. So, like when I think about it, for me, it's more about proximity because you can stay at some really inexpensive hotels that are right by the park gates, and then some of the nicer hotels, like the Disneyland Hotel, is all the way on the other side of downtown Disney. So, I'm a new college grad, so I have a pretty low budget. So I'd rather be in the cheap hotel close to the park gates than stay in the nicer hotel that's a longer walk. It's just not as important to me, I guess.
Yeah, we noticed kind of the same thing at when we went to Disneyland in February. It was tough because we could either stay on property and pay a fortune, or we could use points from like business travel and stay at the DoubleTree. So we ended up staying at the DoubleTree and getting like a 2-bedroom suite for free versus, or much cheaper than, the Disneyland resort. So we did the same thing. Like we sacrificed to utilize the money at, going to afternoon tea and trying to do some of the other things, buy a lot of merchandise while we were there.
Yeah, and a lot of the discount off-property hotels have shuttles right to the park gates, and it's weird because the actual resort hotels don't. I mean, the Grand Californian has a private entrance to California Adventure, so that's a little different. But like the Disneyland Hotel or Paradise Pier Hotel, it's a long walk, and if you've got a little kid and you want to go for nap time, it's not trivial to get all the way back to the hotel, whereas you could take, a $10 for your whole trip, I think, for a shuttle for most of those hotels and just hop right back. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Wow. Now, the hotels in Disneyland, like I can't speak from experience, just what I've heard and what I've looked at online are outrageously expensive. Like even compared to the Disney World deluxe ones, like the Grand Californian and the Disneyland Hotel are like ridiculous, like upwards of like $500 and $600 a night, like for the lower rooms.
Yeah, it's absurd. I mean, it's just not worthwhile because, they're nice, but at the end of the day, at least for me, I spend 99% of the day in the parks, so I don't really need to have, this amazing room, and for the price, it's just, when there's so much competition of other cheap hotels around, it makes no sense to me that they charge that much.
Yeah, and I just was listening to something recently over the weekend about the Paradise Pier Hotel, which I guess was not even a new hotel. When they were building California Adventure, they bought whatever hotel was in the proximity or that was there, and just kind of like slapped paint on it and Disneyed it, and that's it. Like nothing was redone or refurbished. And I guess it's not a dump, but compared to what they charge compared to the other two, it's outrageous from what I heard.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I've never stayed there, but the last time I looked at prices, I think it was like $100 cheaper a night than the Disneyland Hotel, which is totally Disney themed. They have like a Peter Pan pool and all this stuff.
Right.
And then the Paradise Pier Hotel is on like a side street. It's got no view of anything, and it's really not Disney themed. It's just really weird.
Yeah, that's what I was listening to, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I was like, ooh, I mean, I guess you want to stay there because you could say it's on the Disney property. Because you know some people like, you know, when they're there, they want to be all encompassed and not have to worry about anything. But for those prices,
Right.
you got to. I agree with you. I'd be staying at the Holiday Inn down the street.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
we looked at it for non-peak season, and Paradise Pier is like their entry-level resort. I think it was starting at like $380 during non-peak season.
Wow.
And you're like that. It just pains you if you have, especially since we had the free nights from other travel. So it's like we just couldn't justify it, especially because we had a kitchenette and a 2-bedroom in the other at the DoubleTree. In addition to that, there was a good tip that we got. We just walked out of the DoubleTree, and the Disney parking lot was right there. So we were able to jump on the Disney bus and ride the Disney bus in for free every single day. So we didn't have to walk in. So it was pretty great location. So I highly recommend the DoubleTree. And it's a gorgeous hotel. They do free breakfast and dinner and drinks at night. So, I mean, for us, it was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. I don't know why you would stay anywhere else. I mean, Disney has some serious competition out there.
Yeah. I like to stay at a place called the Candy Cane Inn. It's really cheap. It's basically a motel, but there's, you know, free Wi-Fi. They have a free breakfast buffet. It's the only hotel I know of in the area that has a free tram to and from the park gates every 30 minutes. It's like a 15-minute walk, and it's like $100 a night. So when you think about that versus spending, you know, $800 for the Grand Californian, I mean, where would you rather put your money, you know?
I'm only laughing because when we walked by that hotel, I was like, next time we come, we must stay at the Candy Cane Inn. I'm like, that sounds
It's so
amazing.
cute.
And then they have awesome reviews, too. Like, we were looking at the reviews online, and everyone loves to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, the rooms are really basic, but the staff is super nice, and it's quiet despite being on a main street. And the biggest incentive for me is the fact that it has the free tram service, so.
Yeah, you can't beat that. That definitely helps out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, lots of information there on the Grand Floridian, and then spurring off onto different hotels around some of the different Disney properties. So now, with final segment, we're going to turn it over to Jessica. She's got an interesting question for all of us and some insight on on Tomorrowland. So take it away, Jessica.
Thank you. Okay, so the post that I'm going to talk about is a post I did about New Tomorrowland, which was the Disneyland Tomorrowland's second major refurbishment project. It was in 1998, and it really didn't go well. So before that project, Tomorrowland really hadn't been updated since the 60s. And obviously, if you have a land set in the future, it has to keep updating to stay in the future. So it desperately needed a makeover. And by the 90s, Disney finally said, okay, we have to do something about this. They just finished building Mickey's Toontown, so they were ready to start a new project. So they announced that they were going to do New Tomorrowland, which was supposed to be set in 2055. And the whole look was going to change, and it was going to be inspired by the Tomorrowland land in Disneyland Paris, which is called Discoveryland. And it's really bronze, and it's got all these medals everywhere, and it just looks very different. But New Tomorrowland was not received well. Fans were really mad because construction took 3 years, and aside from changing the color of the buildings, there was basically nothing different. So people were just kind of like, what did we wait for? And the whole idea was it was supposed to be all bronze, but it just looked brown. And Space Mountain just looked like it was rusted and abandoned. I mean, it was really ugly. And Disney realized pretty quick that it just wasn't working, so they undid it in a couple of years. So it was kind of all this wasted effort. But aside from the fact that it was really ugly, the reason that I think New Tomorrowland failed was because it didn't move into the future. There were no new attractions, and nothing about it predicted life in 2055, which is the whole premise of this land is supposed to be like a look into the future. And as I was researching this, I was thinking about Tomorrowland today, And I was thinking about the rides that are there. There's Star Tours, there's Buzz Lightyear and the submarines, and don't get me wrong, those are all really fun and awesome rides, but they really have nothing to do with the future. It's just kind of a random assortment of stuff. So my question for all of you guys is, I mean, what do you think about Tomorrowland today? I mean, is it fair to even call it Tomorrowland anymore? Should they call it something else? Should they what can they do to fix it, or do you think it doesn't need to be fixed? I'm just curious to hear what you guys think about Tomorrowland.
Well, I don't have any experience with the Disneyland one, but I do. And you guys lost your People Mover when they did one of those giant refurbs, right? And they had some other abomination, the rocket rods, in there for a little bit, which I guess was terrible.
That was the 1998 one. Yeah.
Right.
The rocket rods replaced the People Movers, but the track wasn't built for fast speed rides, so it broke down constantly, and they finally took it down. And the whole People Mover track is still there, but it's just, there's nothing on it. It's just like decoration now.
That's a shame.
I wanted to come back. I love the People.
The People Movers, yeah, it's like a staple in Walt Disney World, for sure. I'd have to say I have no problems really with the one in Disney World at all. I know some of the attractions, some of the newer generation of people that go there, I think, don't have the appreciation for some of the older stuff, like Carousel of Progress and the People Mover. I think they're looking for thrill rides and thrill rides only. I think the only thing that, if it went away, I wouldn't miss it would be the Raceway, only because it's kind of a shell of what it used to be.
You would miss Stitch?
I like Stitch. I do. I don't know why. I just do. I like that movie, so I guess maybe that's why
That's true. I do love the movie.
there's nothing else that has him in it, really. So if that went away, I probably wouldn't be sad either, but that wouldn't be first on my list. I think that Raceway takes up such a big area of real estate. I think they can... How that didn't become some sort of Lightning McQueen thing for us when they did Cars Land is beyond me, because that would have been the perfect place to do some sort of Piston Cup style anything. Tomorrowland's my favorite land to just be in, even if I'm not on an attraction. I like just sitting over by either over around Buzz Lightyear, under the People Mover track, or over by Space Mountain near all those electric palm trees, and just that background music, and grab some popcorn and just hang out. It's just it's a busy area, but it's, I don't know, the ambiance of it just to me just screams Disney World. And I don't remember the original one that much, and I should, because I was there quite a bit before they did their refurb in 93, and I think it opened back up in 95 when they were done with everything with the whole overlay for the new Tomorrowland. The old one was pretty drab. I think it was just a lot of white and blue, and I guess in the 70s that was their vision of tomorrow, but I guess now it still has a futuristic feel. But I kind of agree with Jessica. The attractions themselves, except for maybe the laugh floor, aren't screaming anything that's into the future now with all the technology that's come about over the past 20 years. So...
Yeah, I'm with you, RJ. I don't necessarily have anything negative to say about Tomorrowland. I don't. It kind of reminds me of like the Contemporary Hotel, which was, new and awesome when it was first made, but now it's kind of the term Contemporary and the term Tomorrowland almost means something different. It's like, 30 years ago, their image of what it would be, not necessarily what our image of it in today's terms would be.
Right.
And, but they do still keep with the themes, and you've got the space exploration with Buzz Lightyear and that kind of thing. And that works for me. It does. And even though it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't scream future anymore, it still works, I think, for what it was designed to be.
Yes, I'll agree with that. And if you look around, like as you walk through, like if you come through the Noodle Station instead of coming across the main bridge there by the castle, there's like posters, if you would, like along the walls there, and some of that stuff is still screams to like somewhat Tomorrowland type stuff. If you read the thing, it's like entertainment guides and almost kind of helps with like the story of Tomorrowland. And I, over by the People Mover, they have that robot that's like the phone, and it has like the newspaper in it. I believe you can push like buttons on it or something, and it'll tell you like the news of the day or the weather on some planet or something like that. So it does have those little touches. They're just kind of hidden away. They're not out in plain sight. They have that cool big floating water globe that everybody likes to push around and figure out how that giant marble is floating on water.
Yeah, just to kind of add to what Jessica was saying, during our recent visit to Disneyland, I didn't really get the vibe that I was in Tomorrowland. I felt like they were kind of taking everything and just running it into the ground with Star Wars. So the overlay for Space Mountain with Star Wars, like every 15 minutes, like they would play Star Wars music and they'd have stormtroopers come out and just walk around. So I was kind of getting the vibe that they were just taking that and turning it into more of like Star Wars land, like their version of Star Wars land. And then here in Walt Disney World, I'm with you guys. I don't really have like an issue with anything going on in Tomorrowland. I'm just more surprised that they aren't doing anything to kind of drive it forward. Like there's no action plan in place at all within like the next 5 to 10 years to do anything with it. They're just kind of, I guess they realize like the fan base is okay with it and they're leaving it, but then there's still no action plan to do anything really exciting. And I think that's where like some of the other theme park competitors like Universal and SeaWorld can kind of come in and gain some followers because they do have a little bit more exciting and thrill rides. And I think when people think of Tomorrowland, they expect something fast and speedy and kind of like Space Mountain, but multiple versions of that, or to see something, a new kind of technology that they've never seen before. And I think Monsters, Inc. kind of gave us a little insight to that. But now, I think technology is getting caught up to that. So I don't see anything that's like, a shock and awe when you go on any of these attractions. And I think that's what most people are expecting when they go into Tomorrowland. Not so much just like a Star Wars version of Tomorrowland. So I'm with you guys. I'm not like terribly upset about anything going on there. But it is kind of like getting to look a little rusty, where I feel like they need to do something, but there's no plan to do anything with it.
Right. Well, have you guys seen any of the videos of the Tron coaster that opened up in Shanghai?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
That thing is crazy. Yeah, look it up on YouTube, or I think the Parks blog may even have a video of it. That thing is insane.
Oh,
and that, people were talking, Twitter buzz and, rumors and stuff like that. Oh, that'd be perfect in Walt Disney World. Where could we stick that? Get rid of the raceway and let's put that there. We need another coaster. It just, you don't get any really much more future than Tron. I don't know if they were hoping that the Tomorrowland movie was going to take off better than it did, and they were going to implement some of that into the park, into that section of the park. And yeah, that's a shame if, like what Crystal said, if there's nothing even on the table in the long term for it, because I think eventually it is something that needs to be addressed, especially with the name of the actual land. All the other parts of the Magic Kingdom, I think, are fine the way they are. There's not much else you can change. They just doubled the size of Fantasyland and did everything they needed to do there. So that's set for a while, and all the other ones I think are as they are, really don't need to be touched. I think so. I think Tomorrowland is probably the next thing if they were to do another major overhaul in the Magic Kingdom. Would probably be the next thing that they should do.
I would agree.
I think they... Go ahead.
I was just going to say that maybe that is down the pipeline somewhere. They're just so focused on Star Wars Land and Avatar and the Toy Story Land and all that that's coming. That maybe it is in talks, because I do think that, like you were saying, RJ, that's kind of a weak spot if you're going to look for a weak spot in Magic Kingdom. But maybe we've just got to get through these other big openings. And plus, it still feels to me that New Fantasyland is still like new. I know it's been a few years now, but it still feels like, because Magic Kingdom just got that partial revamp, that maybe they're not so focused on that particular park.
Yeah, probably. Attendance definitely, doesn't say that people aren't going there because of certain things. I mean, Space Mountain will still be second behind the Mine Train for the longest line and the Fast Pass that sells out quick. So, I don't think they're worried about everybody standing on every attraction and the lay of the land. I guess they're just, bodies are in there and doing stuff. So I guess that's their major concern on nowadays, unfortunately. Yeah, I think they've got so much tied up in those other 3 big projects that you just mentioned that I don't think they're worried about anything else until those open, and I hope until they start seeing, cash rolling in for those 3 entities, because that's got to happen.
Maybe we can just use the Thanks Shanghai hashtag for that for now.
That works for me.
Well, and it's funny because I think if they actually went in and changed anything in Tomorrowland, I would also be the fan who was like screaming like, "How dare you change Tomorrowland!" So it's funny like how I'm saying, "Hey, drive it into the future, and we need to be more forward-looking." And at the same time, I would say, hands off of anything except Stitch. Like you can take Stitch, but you have to leave everything else alone. So it's kind of like tugging at heartstrings with that one.
I think, Crystal, you just described every Walt Disney World fan that there is. Like, redo everything, but don't touch a thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's definitely me. I'm definitely a nostalgia guy. Especially the more I get older, I'm like, you know what? It's fine the way it is. I don't really care. It's like when everything went away from the paper fast passes to this Magibay thing, I was, grumbling and complaining, walking around my house. This is ridiculous. What's wrong with the way it is? It's not, it's fine. It works. You can get whatever, every hour you can go get a fast pass and do what you need to do and da-da-da-da-da. And I don't want to plan all this stuff. I just want to go and do what I want to do. And I still kind of feel that way. It's nice. It's convenient. With the kids, it's definitely a plus. But, like, my wife and I are going in September. We have not made one dining reservation. We've booked 2 tours, and I think we're just going to, hit food and wine and hit a bunch of lounges. And, yeah, I'll do some fast passes. I definitely want to hit the new Soarin' and check out the Frozen thing. But other than that, I don't know. It's just going to be like an adult trip. I can't... if the thought of having to plan for just 2 people is just kind of like, it's just kind of, I don't want to do that. I just want to show up and kind of go.
Yeah, I want to say everything. I agree with everything that you just said, and I also thoroughly enjoy the image of you stalking around your house, grumbling under your breath about that.
There's probably no video proof, but I'm sure there was plenty of not nice things being said at the time. Like I said, it's still not my favorite thing. The convenience is nice, and I'm guilty of wearing my magic bands around just on a random weekend because I'm just feel like it, and my family makes fun of me, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I've got 7 of them or whatever it is, so I might, instead of them sitting in the drawer collecting dust, I might as well use it as a piece of jewelry. And the kids think it's fun.
Well, that change is coming to Disneyland, so you'll have to help me through it.
Yeah, you guys are. I can't believe they did it. I thought they were going to leave that alone. There was so much resistance there for it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been an official announcement. If there has, it slipped by me, but they're building the little kiosk, so it's got to be happening.
Yeah, I haven't seen a date too, but I have seen photos and pictures of them putting the little things up and everything. So, well, I mean, I guess that's what they want to do. They want to, have everything be the same, streamline everything, which is a shame because it's nice that that there are things that are still different on both ends, and I'm really hoping that with the Star Wars and the Toy Story lands that there are different things in California versus Florida, but I don't think so. I think they're going to be pretty much carbon copies, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, all right then. I think we're going to wrap this episode up. At the end of every episode, we like to give everybody a way to get in touch with all of our troop on the various social media sites. So, Jessica, let's start with you.
Okay, so you can find my blog at duchessofdisneyland.com. And I'm also on Twitter at Duchess Jessica, and then Facebook at Duchess of Disneyland.
Very good. All right. And Crystal?
Hey, you all, check me out on Twitter at Disney Brewing, and I'll also post that video of the Mickey Mouse proposal one more time so you guys can check it out.
Yes!
All right. And Adrian?
All right, you can find my blog at wdwbound.com. I am on Twitter at wdwbound_com and Facebook and Instagram at adriwdwbound.
All right, awesome. And I am RJ, and you can find me on Facebook at RJ Lucia Jr. and on Instagram and Twitter at BlackPearl454. And I just want to give you our missing 2 members this week who are traveling around. You can find Milford and catch up with his blog on his website, which is milfordhutzel.com. And he is on Twitter at MilfordOnMove. And you can find Mel, who takes care of our website at DizExplorers.com and has a blog on there as well. You can find her on Twitter at DCL Prep School. And also, with her new thing, her DCL Prep School, head to their website at dclprepschool.com and sign up for email notifications. They're not up and running yet, but when she gets up and running and going, you'll be first to know to start receiving whatever communications that they're going to deal with on that website. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for listening.